No, there's a little. You getting any at all? I know, man. It's not.
It says this meeting is being recorded.
Yeah, now we're being recorded, but
Okay,
I
so
can
you gotta
also
behave.
edit. Do I go?
No, you do whatever you want. It looks
I-
good on you.
It looks- I'm so happy I'm doing this. I want to tell you. I thought so. Some of the questions is I want to know about you and Father Falvey when you're a small child. Oh, here comes
All
John.
right.
Yeah. Oh, dude, John. Jay, John, let me know when you're on, Johnny B. I like this better with this.
You like with the blur background?
blur background.
I like it too.
It
Yeah.
makes it.
Yeah, I'll stay out of it.
The only thing we're gonna miss
That was the bobblehead.
is the bobblehead.
Yeah, that's key.
If I hold it though, if I hold the bobblehead, maybe
Is that you? Is that supposed to be you?
that is me. That's
Oh,
me.
that is
Other
you.
than flipping everybody off. There's Johnny B.
Coach.
Ah,
John, I apologize. Sorry.
Look at you.
hey,
Look at you. Look at the mayor over there. The
Don't-
mayor of Palos Verdes just showed up.
yes, sir.
So, honestly, you scare me. What are you wearing right now, man? What is going on with that?
What,
For
me?
me?
No, Jim. Yeah, it is. Where are you? Which mountain have you climbed that you're hiding right now? Hmm? Ah, dang.
I-
Hey man, this is a Zoom meeting. I'm at Everest or whatever the hell
I
it is.
gotta say.
just Johnny's putting wires together. Don't worry about it. You'll know it when he mails them out.
But you could surely tell Denny was adopted, man. The guy has no hair and we got full head of hair. I don't know what that means, but hell, yeah.
Where is
Rob told me, by the way, producer Rob really apologized to John about putting
Yeah, thanks, Rob.
John,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry.
I thought it was a mistake. I thought it was a mistake. It was an AOL. No, man, come on. You know, gee.
No disrespect to AON. I'm
I
sorry.
get it.
only the biggest corporate insurance company in the world, but we thought it was a mistake. It must be AOL. That gets personal, I think, in your business right there.
I like what John said. Do you think it was my mistake?
I'm just happy to see Jim actually knows how to work the computer to get on
did.
video here. You know,
I got him on
who
late.
came over and helped you?
Yeah. Delana had to come over and give me a hand, but we're good. We're good.
Yeah, but you've been on since last night before you went to
Yeah,
bed. just so you wouldn't miss
absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I had to get on early.
Hey, how about my new blurred background though? Kind of makes the glows, things kind of come out a little bit of my blurred background. I like
Yeah,
that.
that's sharp, man.
Yeah.
Looks really
That's
nice.
sharp.
Looks really nice. Yeah. Looks good.
I want you guys to know that I could put the bobblehead, see, but it gets in the blurred, Rob. It's blurred here, but if I put it out front here, the bobblehead, is that showing too? If I go there, that's not a bad idea.
I
You
like
have my
that.
bobblehead going.
I put it in the trash.
Also, I don't know if I shared this with you guys. You can't get this because it's blurred, but it's my big cup we won last weekend. All right, it's the tournament trophy. Let me ask you. Let me segue. So let's start this thing.
49.
We are in episode 49 of Swing Hard in case you hit it. And I'm blessed today to have a couple of had to go long and far to get these two gentlemen with me, and two guys I honor. One just left the screen. Good deal, John. I appreciate you walking away when this is here we go. Good. He's back on. But we are episode 49.
Yeah.
And I have two baseball people with me that I have known my entire life. They have been my baseball mentors. I've gone to them throughout. We all have guys that we look to and admire and play. And today I got brother Jim Barrett and my brother John Barrett. And Jimmy and John, I appreciate you guys coming on today, man.
I'm glad to have you. Glad to be on.
Great
Really
to
is.
be here, man. You're either doing really well or you're not doing well at all. I don't know what the deal is here.
Well, I am just so if someone's looking at this, they would probably think I'm the older brother on screen, but the truth is I am the youngest here. There was Jim is the oldest, John was the middle, then there was Kelly, who we don't talk about, and then there's Dink, that's the youngest. No, we talk about you, Kel, we love you, but I think Mom may have met the mailman at one point because I remember mailman was bald, and that's all I'm going to say on that. That's all I'm going to say on it. We can edit. The nice thing about this, guys, we can always edit. It's always
Yeah,
good.
I like that. I like that.
Hey, let me ask you guys. Growing up in a baseball family, we had a baseball family. The Barrett family went around our little venue of Toluca Little League, and we represented if you will. And I think it was part of facade, but part Dad made us believe who we were today. But talk to me about growing up as a inside a little family of a dad who coached, and what some good memories, some challenging memories, or what was it like growing up in there? And Jim, if you want to go first, being the oldest, man, what do you got in there?
You know, we grew up in a family where it was a pretty tight knit family. You know, we all had separate things to do, but you know, Mom made us go into. We always had dinner at the table every night. We always talked about, you know, they always want to know how our days were going. I remember because we lived in Hollywood when we first started out in Toluca Lake. I was 9, and Dad was working out there, and he found some little league team, or he found Toluca Little League, and we joined that. And it was, you know, back then though, it was more of a social event, I think, for the parents and for everybody else out there. You know, we had opening day, we had, you know, parents were out there. You know, you spent the whole day out there.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and for some reason, you know, we listened to Dad, did all that other stuff. So, but it was, it kind of brought everybody closer together. I mean, Denny, you were there. You were the last one there. Hell, you were brought up on the baseball field, for crying out loud. And, you know, Dad was pretty much a taskmaster. He liked to win. And I think he passed that down to his kids, all of them.
Yeah, I agree with you there, man. Johnny, how about you, brother?
Yeah, no, I think Jim's right on the button here. You know, I mean, you had a dad who played professional baseball. Baseball was his life, clearly, and he had a profession, being an LA City fireman, that allowed him to spend as much time coaching all three of us at the same time, certain seasons.
Yeah.
But what was unique that Jim and I had, and then you got it probably later on though, was, you know, it was Dad, Jim, and I, and we would practice all the time. So we were out there. Yes. I mean, yeah, we played the games, and then we had the All-Stars and all that stuff. But most of my fond memories are just being out on the practice field. You know, Jim's turn to hit at bat. I'm out shagging in the outfield. Then I come in, and Jim goes in the outfield to shag. Dad's throwing terrible batting practice, but we're out there trying to do it. And then hours of ground balls. And I think the one thing I came away from that, and I use it when I was coaching baseball, but I've quite frankly use it in my work mindset as well too, is just how important practice was. And you know, it's when I coached my son here, he hated practice, and I guess I hated practice too. But I knew if he didn't spend the time on that practice field, and he was, as Jim said, he was a taskmaster, and he drilled and drilled and drilled. If we didn't spend the time though, I don't think we'd be able to accomplish the things that we did in baseball. So my fondest memories was those Saturday mornings or those Sunday mornings when everyone else may be at church or someone else, they're out at the beach. We're grabbing the balls and the bats and the gloves and going out in the field and spending about 2 to 3 hours that morning just shagging and playing baseball. So
God, you know, John, now today I make money. I make money given those private lessons. Yeah. We didn't have private lessons back then when you and Jimmy were playing. By the way, Jimmy Barrett played at Cal State Northridge, both Notre Dame high school players, including me, and Dad was Notre Dame high school. Dad was all league at first base. John was all league at shortstop. Jim all league at third, and I was all league and basically the LeBron of the family at second base. So you had a family of 4. We could fill an infield right here. The nice thing about Jimmy, though, at least we can re-enter because Jim could never hit. So he could play the defense really well, but we could bring in someone like Mike Barron to hit for him and then go right from there.
You know, Denny, you know, I mean, I've had been able to listen to a number of your podcasts, and it's amazing to hear your evolution from a player to a coach, and now to run these podcasts. And I think you used it the other day when you had one of your guests on there, and he talked about, I mean, how the game of baseball needs to be fun. I mean, you know, we're out there playing baseball, so the word play keeps coming. I think you mentioned that in your podcast. And when I look back to those days, I think my dad always thought, or our dad thought, just being on the field was play. It was hard work and all that stuff. I don't think, you know, I think he would take a step back and see how you're coaching today and your philosophy of coaching and making sure that these kids you know, to me, when I was coaching Little League and all that, a successful season was that season when I thought the kids learned something about baseball, then I actually saw them re-sign up for next year because they enjoyed the game. Back when we played, as you all know, those drive homes after a tough game or a tough loss were not fun. And I think that's where when we look back now, those are probably some of the negative memories that we remember because it wasn't fun all the time. But then again, I think that made us better ball players too, I guess.
Excuse me, but tell me this, John, what was the worst ride home? Going with dad or going with mom?
No, that's good. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, with mom, you usually left the ballpark earlier, so you got home earlier, but with dad, he was always talking and running court out there and
it was dark.
No, neither one of them was fun, quite honestly. They're both very competitive people, that's for sure.
Yeah, I remember, you're right. God, John, I never thought of that. I'd go home with mom and mom would say, I can miss a test. I could fail a class, but if I had a bad day and she took me home, she would say, your dad's not going to be happy with you. Yeah.
Well, remember now, you remember when in grammar school, mom and dad met at second grade. And then by eighth grade, dad was the top male softball player and mom was the top female softball player. And so they were the best athletes. And so mom knew the game. And as much as, dad's coaches in the stands, she was holding coach on the field. She was holding court in the stands. And God knows, people would go to her because they were afraid to go to dad. And she tell them, no, sit down. You don't know what you're talking about. So.
Exactly right. The worst thing she could do, though, and I get into this, is that she would tell dad what the parents are saying about us when we're playing. And then during the game, so dad would come down there, his whole demeanor would just change. It would just change because he'd be a little upset. I was fortunate enough to be your two younger brother, man. And I say that today. During that time, it wasn't fortunate, man, my God. But I look back in the rearview mirror. I would drive to see you, Jimmy, play at Northridge. Well, first of all, at Notre Dame, I was just a little shit. And I didn't know anything about anything of what was going on, but I would travel to watch you guys play. You guys were teammates at Notre Dame High School and good players. And then dad would pick me up. School was such a priority for Dink. However, he'd pick me up at 9 a.m. to go to a game in Santa Barbara to go watch Northridge play Santa Barbara so Jimmy could play. Or with you, John, when you were at Santa Clara, he'd miss a whole day. Dad would leave in the morning and say, Dink, let's go see John play. And I don't think I was smart enough to realize that means when I would look at your schedule, John, and go, I'm going to miss a full day of school for sure to go see John play. That's a long trip. How did it feel having dad? And this is part of the podcast, you guys, is relationships and dads and sons and families. And how did it feel having dad out there at your games? Let me ask you that. As a non-coach, he coached you, Jim, he coached you, John, and he coached me. But what did it feel like having him out there? Were there any pluses or minuses having him out there?
From my standpoint, yeah, growing up, it was always great to have dad there. He always gave you support. Dad always gave you support. The ride home may have been bad, but during the game or during that stuff, he always gave you support. Right. You did well, he praised you. You did bad, you waited for the ride home, and he'd ask you stuff. As I grew older out of Notre Dame and in the Northridge, it really got it got a little bit more I don't know, I was growing up I didn't realize I didn't have any kids. I didn't know what it was like to talk to your old man all the time. But I look back on it now, what he really did when I was at Northridge, he would make me, I didn't even want to talk to the guy at that point there. I remember I'd come home and dad would be a fireman and he'd call up on the phone and he'd say, well, how'd you do today? Yeah. And one of these times, yeah, shoot, dad, I went 0 for 4 or 4 for 4. He said,
wait, Jim. Let's stick with 0 for 4. That was more often, but go ahead, man.
I'm talking about my junior year. I had more 4 for 4s than 0 for 4s that year. But I remember him calling on the phone. He said, how'd you do today, Jim? Well, I got, a couple base hits and 5 out. He said, oh, how about your first at bat?
Yeah.
Ground ball. And I know he was lonely because I get it now. Now that you have a kid, you know that you just want, he's just asking questions and no. And, and I did the same thing to my kid. Well, what'd you do? I was 3 for 4. I asked my kid, what'd you do? 3 for 4. And then you go down, well, what'd you hit? And I'm thinking, God damn it, I just want to get out of it. I want to get showered and go home and go somewhere. I don't want to talk to you about what I hit that day.
Yeah.
But I didn't appreciate it till much later on in life that,
Yeah. It's a hard conversation, John, isn't it? When you're talking to Dad from Santa Clara and Jim or the firehouse. That's a great story, man. We always ask. His biggest line to me was, I got a base hit. Where is the pitch? Well, shit, Dad, seriously? I guess it was, I struck out on a ball looking, or I struck out swinging volunteer. But John, he would call you up there. Didn't you have roommates that would know when Dad would call and you?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, when I knew Dad and Mom were coming up, I was very happy because then I knew I was going to get some extra money, some meal money. I was real excited about that because especially from Mom, she'd give me 20 or 30 just to keep me going. But I also, again, having Dad up there and Mom up there in the stands watching me again, I was away at school, so for them to have a chance to come up and see me play, or for me to see them in the stands, was really something that I really enjoyed, and it was a positive experience because he got to know the players and the coaches in a different way. But yeah, no, there were times. I remember a great story about it was always about the weather. He was going to make the commitment to be up there. There's no question about it, but he didn't want to drive all the way up there and it's a rain out. So he'd call my dorm room, and one night I'm sitting there, and there's about 4 or 5 players in my room, and they know it's my dad calling, and because we're going in the weekend series. And I said, well, Dad, I don't know. The clouds are, it's getting kind of dark, but I think we're going to play. There's no wrong. And all of a sudden, one of them yells out, goes, hey, doesn't your dad buy a paper? Tell him to read the weather report. Why do you keep calling it? And so he used that as a line all the time. They tell your buddies, I just opened the paper, and I'm going ahead, and looks like your guys are going to play this weekend. But no, you look at this, the impact. Jim talks about a close-knit family. There is no question that, we'd be in that car and he'd break down, how'd you strike out? Where was the pitch? Why'd you hit it? So you understood the game, and those are some tough discussions at times. But once you got home and you sit around that dinner table, it was a family unit, and there's no question about it. Even our sister Kelly would get in discussion about, hey, what's going on with the baseball and all that stuff. And then Denny, you're young, you're sitting there and listening to this dialogue going on. I know you just happen to pick up a lot of insights there, but that family unit was something that we may battle outside, but when you come inside, we were a very tight family unit, and quite frankly, very, very supportive of each other for sure.
Well, John, the great line was, one cuts, we all bleed. Remember that? One cuts, we all bleed. And he'd slam his hand down and
all the table, all the silverware in place would jump up and jump down, and then we'd just start eating again, like, oh well, let's go. It's time to eat.
No, I do. I remember you too, man. I remember, and I can only look back on it now. I was very fortunate to have, you're right, 2 great parents, loving sister, and 2 brothers and you guys, you guys didn't know this at the time, but I knew more about your teams than I know about my team. I knew about Don Bongiovanni or Kevin Walters. I knew about Greg, who was your shortstop, Jim, the 28-year-old shortstop. Charlie Gregg. You knew.
I still talk to him.
You still talk to him. Sean Turner. These. Then I can go on and looking back on the times, because Dad, if you guys don't know, when you guys recall, Dad had no one else to talk to but me. And he'd say, Jesus Christ, Bongiovanni fucking struck out again. I tell you what, that Walters, I don't think Kevin Walters should catch another lick of the year. He'd throw out there Walters, they must like Walters. Or who was the shortstop they had? John's up there and he's got to beat out another shortstop, Fran Mullins, and he'd say, yeah, Barrett. The big facade, and this is where it gets a little serious. Dad would create he made us believe, and I want you guys had kids. You got JP, a great player, and little Jimmy, a great player, and I would watch you guys coach your own kids. Was there a time, though, do you think, and Dad did it to me too, he really made us believe we were really good players. And there's a fine line of thinking, I thought I was going to make it to the major leagues because when my dad talked to me, he told me how good I was all the time. And I appreciate that today until I showed up to a tryout and I realized, oh, that guy from, Dominican Republic, he's pretty good. And that other guy, pretty good. And, and Dad always created though. Was there a time with you and your kids? Did you get the same belief? Was it a false sense of reality? Do we tell our kids how good they should be? Or do we tell them the reality? Hey man, you're probably not going to play till you're in high school and then shit's going to be done, or play big college. You get what I'm saying there, man?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get it. For me with Jim, where he was playing Little League and when I lived in Utah, in St. George, Utah, and he was just a little boy, and I had taken him out since he was 5 every Sunday while all the other people were at church, and we'd hit just for the same reason Dad did. Hell, I had nothing else to do, and I thought it was fun to throw batting practice. I was a good batting practice thrower, unlike Dad. But
you were terrible, actually. Man. You had that little natural slider that was really. I mean, I hated when Dad said, "Okay, Jim, come and throw a BP." You were. I don't know. It was because it was me, and you purposely come inside and try to hit me and all that stuff. But I never learned how to hit, trying to hit off you.
I know, man. You always needed a helmet. You always needed a helmet. Jimbo. Go ahead.
No, you go, Jimmy.
I was just gonna say with Jimbo, because it was a small town compared to LA. It was very everything revolved around the religion, and we weren't part of that religion. We were Catholics, and they were, other things. And there was I remember Jim, he tried so hard. He did really well. There were 2 things. Well, actually, there's 3, but the first thing I remember Jim saying, he says, "Dad, I'm not playing. I don't think the guy likes me." I think he was probably right. He was playing his kid, yada, yada, whatever. So the first thing that came out of my mouth, I thought about it a minute, and I said, well, you know what, Jimbo, the only way that you're going to play is you're going to be better than everybody out there. And from that moment on, we didn't, that was an understanding that, it doesn't matter what the coaches say, and if you're, to me, it was more of a life experience that he will learn right there. You can't blame other people for the shit that you've already done or you can't do or yada yada. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So and I think he's carried that through. He's a successful dude, and I think he's carried a little bit of that through from what he learned out there on the sports field, not just from me, but from everything.
Yeah, I get you, John. Same there with JP.
Yeah, same thing. Hey, we always want to pump up our kids. We're going to be big supporters. And I know when I was coaching, and you guys, Denny, I'm sure, and Jimmy face same thing, trying to coach players, but then got to manage the parents. All their parents think their kid is going to be the best. I think Dad's greatest line, and I've used it many times. I was actually, this is for my daughter, Brittany, and this is my oldest daughter when she was playing soccer, and she's out there. She's probably 9 or 10. I'm sitting with a bunch of these parents and dads, and they all think their daughter is going to be the next Mia Hamm. And I say, I guys, I mean, I know I'm the old man here, but let me say one thing here is, my dad used to have a line that says, "You can't hide Babe Ruth." And I've used that line many, many times. It said, in a day, if you're Babe Ruth, they're going to find you. And also, Mia Hamm at this age, she wasn't playing with the other girls. She's playing with the boys at this time. So we just had these kids have a good time and really have fun. And I wasn't a big hit with the family by that time. Then they sent me out, way down the line in my little chair. But I really believe that. And so when I was coaching my son JP, he got cut from the Loyal baseball team. And hey, I remember that walk to the car. I look at him, see the tears coming down. I go, oh my God, you talk about a tough drive home back to Palos Verdes is going to be my son here. And really to Jim's point, it's, if one thing, Dad used to say too is, baseball will end. And so you look at it that way. Baseball is either going to end as a little leaguer, it's going to end in high school, you go to college, you're going to end there, as it with us, or you get to the pros and one day it's going to end there. So no matter when it ends, it'd be tough to accept that. I mean, you better have something else. I mean, you better rely on something else. And Dad always said that about us. He said, if I could get you guys to college, I mean, I've done my job. Whatever happens from there, it's all about, you know, your baseball skills, but it's going to end. And so know it's going to end. So when are you going to prepare yourself to be better people, to have that fallback position, those type of things? And I think, you know, we all had some tough calls, and being cut from the baseball team or, you know, getting sick or those type of things, that ends baseball. And you just kind of say, you know what, Jim, to your point, okay, don't look back, let's look forward and go forward. But
yeah, you know, I remember, John, I remember when Jim was, I knew in my mind that the coach's kid was going to make the all-star team and Jimbo wasn't. So I can't tell you, I spent 2 weeks trying to figure out how to convince him that it's okay. We're going to be okay. We'll just pick up and we'll go along and along and along and along.
mm-hmm.
And it saved a bunch of BS, because he did make it. And I felt so good about that I didn't have to come up with, that's a hard thing to boost up your kid when his whole world is just falling apart.
Yeah,
You know, does that make sense?
Yeah,
And that's with any kid, whether you're coaching them, I mean, somewhere along the line, well, like John said, you're not going to be good enough anymore.
Yeah.
You know, you're just not going to be good enough anymore. So
No, man,
enjoy it while you can.
Now, there's two other lines. I mean, there's one other line Dad used to say. Of course, the line I always say,
You guys listen to him a lot more than I did, apparently.
Well, I did.
Oh,
I did. Yeah.
Well, he told me the line I heard, John, was you can't hide Denny Barrett. I didn't know it was Babe Ruth. But
No,
Go
he
ahead.
was looking at you when he used to say you can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit. And so that's the other line that he used. I'm sorry, you're gonna blur this, right? I mean,
no, I'm keeping that in there. Thanks, John.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
No, that's definitely one of the other lines. Because he was one of the worst drafters of players.
Oh
in the
my
world.
God.
I mean, we would automatically have to be on his team
Right.
because he was the parent and coach, but then we rely on his draft. And I tell you, he'd come
was
back
horrible.
that night from the draft and have the list of players. Hey, John, look what I drafted. I go, Dad, do you know who these guys are? Did you do anything? Oh, yeah, I like his swing. I like his swing. I go, I know. But you know, as Coach Denny Barrett says, you can swing hard as best you can, but if you can't see the ball or hit the ball, you can't steal first base. And
You can't steal first base. That's exactly right. God, John, can you see Dad today at draft? You know how focused he is at home and how focused he was. He's been lighting a cigarette, walking up around, talking to everybody, trying to sell a house, maybe one or two that day or that year. And to pick it, I like to swing. He couldn't tell you who, so he didn't know. He knew no one's name. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
how about that? How about I was at a function. Bill Stewart passed away, right? So they had a reception for him, and Mike Poyer, Jim, was there, and there was a bunch of old Notre Dame alumni there, and I don't know how many, probably 3 or 4 people came up to me and said, "Hey, how's Dimes doing?" And that was Dad.
Yeah.
He was in the audience, and the coffee machine took 2 dimes, 20 cents. So he would always, hey, do you have a couple dimes for me? You got a couple dimes for me? And so
Who's got a dime?
Yeah, who's got a dime? And that he finally became Dimes. And that was it
right.
wasn't Mr. Barrett. It's, hey, how's Dimes doing? He's doing
I think
all
that was
right.
from Bobby Hughes, as a matter of fact.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, because it was 35. He always had a quarter, but you needed a dime.
Yeah.
That
And
was
the
it.
thing, he was so cheap though, John. Here's the thing, he was so cheap. He
Oh.
wouldn't put 2 quarters in because it didn't give change. He never wanted to lose 15 cents.
Hey, well, who'd you ask for money? Did you ask Dad for money or did you ask Mom for money?
John, you made a good point, man. The difference between Mom and Dad was about $20. When I was going to a movie, I would take
From
Jenny.
nothing to 20.
I remember taking Jenny Thomas. Go, Dad. He goes, "Hey, Dink, how much you need, man?" I go, I'm taking Jenny to a movie. He'd
But
pull out
he's a guy though. People laugh at the way we pick on each other and the sarcasm and all that stuff. I mean, we got that from Dad. And I mean, I remember the one dinner table, and Mom had just had the carpet cleaned. It was beautiful, and we're all around the table, and Dad, he's like he's at the fire station, and sure enough, dropped something on the carpet, and Mom yells across the table, goes, "Gee, I just had the carpet cleaned," and he looks at her and looks down. He goes, "Yeah, I know, they miss a spot right here." So I mean, those are the type of comments, that all of a sudden we learn and we've taken from, and
I know it.
and
No
we
filter.
use, not to our betterment at times with our relationship. I think it's sometimes they say we just don't understand. But anyway.
Now, you two, man, I'll tell you, the lives that you two have lived and the kids that you guys have,
You
Kaylee.
say the lies we've lived?
The lives,
Oh, I
L-I-V.
thought you said the
no,
live.
the
Well, that could be too. Yeah, exactly.
The only guy living a lie right here is me. When I keep thinking I got this thing, I got it all fixed, man. I got it all fixed. I'm going to Vegas tonight. You know, when I get to the field, for me, what Dad created for me, or what baseball and you guys have created, every time I was going to a game, whether it's yours, John, or yours, Jim, and I was a little boy and I was going there, it was always a happy place for me. And people wonder why at 57 years old, why am I still coaching kids, or why am I doing a podcast with baseball? Why all my relationships revolve around baseball people? It's because as a little boy, my dad took me, and I didn't know if you guys won or lost. Later on, I would on the drive home, but during the game, you know, I remember watching you taking ground balls, Jimmy, at Santa Barbara, infield, outfield. And I knew then, God, man, I like what he's doing. I want to do what he's doing. John, I remember going to Santa Clara at what was that stadium called? What's that stadium called?
Buckshaw, yeah.
Buckshaw Stadium.
Yeah.
And it was like a football stadium. And I can remember every place I went to. I can't remember the games I played at, but I can remember where you two played at. And you two have been an unbelievable support for me coming up through here. And then you go on, Jim, you got a couple of kids getting married this next couple of years. John, I know Brittany's getting married like right away. She'll tell me before she tells you, you know, but you got Emmy. Where's your daughter going to college now, John? She just signed where?
He just committed to Cal. She's going to be a Cal Bear. So
Wow.
she's perfect.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she's going to run
Hey,
there.
you know what? Hey, you know what though, Denny? You doing what you do. I remember, and I don't know if John remembers this. We were sitting around somewhere. And we were saying, yeah, how's things going? Oh, pretty good. How you doing in Utah? Pretty good. What's Denny doing? And you were coaching, I don't know, Lewis and Clark. I don't know where the hell you were. And John and I were talking about it a little bit. And, you know, we looked at each other after about 5 minutes and he said, you know what, if you can wake up every morning and do what you enjoy, it's not like going to work. And I can't speak for John, but when I woke up in the morning, I don't know if it was, I never really enjoyed going to work, but I did it because I liked the money. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And you, on the other hand, have figured out a way to, you know, to do your passion and get paid for it. I mean, there's nothing better in my life. There'd be nothing better in my life to figure out something like that, you know, 20 years ago, 30 years, 50 years ago.
Denny, I mean, I've had a chance, unfortunate chance, Jim, you more than me, but I have had a chance to see you coach, Denny, and I see a lot of Dad in the way you coach. And I actually better than Dad in many ways. And Dad would say that too, if he was still with us, me. And I look at in my corporate world that I work at, you know, they talk about how do you go ahead and keep employees engaged, or how do you keep them fired up? And I mean, how do you build that culture? And to me, it's all about culture. And I think the culture that you create, and Dad used to do that as a coach as well too. As bad a drafter he was,
Yeah.
he would bring the players out there, and he would make sure that every player felt that they were contributing to the team. I mean, how many coaches have we seen where you put the kid in right field, or the kid you're going to sit on the bench and give him 2 or 3 innings? What I see, Denny, the way you coach, you make sure that all those kids are out there having fun, they're playing, they're learning the game, but they feel valued because they feel that they're contributing to that win or even to that loss. And that's when I saw the way you coach, and I know some of those discussions you have at the mound may be a little too direct at times, and things you don't want to go ahead and share with your audience, but
Not everything.
But it's all about really connecting to contributing and really challenging these kids. And so I call those 3 C's there, because I think at the end of the day, I'm very proud to see what you're doing with your whole program, how successful it is, to Jim's point, but also how big and important. You know, when I was a high school teacher and coach, before I left that and got in the corporate world, school asked me, what do I miss about that? And I use 2 words: thank you. I remember a couple of kids, Roger Nix, Jim, and Nate Malone. Remember those 2 guys that we coached at Notre Dame?
I think about him every now and then, John.
But Roger was a kid that showed up his freshman year at Notre Dame, didn't have a glove when he tried out at the time I was coaching JV baseball. So you would never give your glove away.
Right.
So, but I said, hey, Roger, here's my glove. he took it, and again, I never saw it again, but he used it for the next 4 years. But he ended up graduating and then going on and playing in college a little bit. But I remember graduation day when his parents came up to me and said, "Hey, Mr. Bear, just want to say thank you for the impact you've had on our son Roger. If not for that, he wouldn't be playing the next level or would not have enjoyed his experience." And I see that, Denny, with the way you handle the parents on your teams, the way you handle those kids. I see a lot of thank yous from that group going back to you, and I give you all the credit. But I think Dad instilled that as well too. He got a lot of thank yous and about players he coached over the years, Mike Barron being one, Jim, you know, that in a day, they thank him for the impact that he had on their lives. So.
Hey, hey, John, with that being said, what about that poor kid who missed the fly ball in center field that you chewed out and he never played the game again?
John,
John,
that's a true story.
Yeah,
true
yeah.
story.
Well, again, that was during those days where, you know,
Survival of the fittest.
Draft. It was another bad draft, and Dad put him in center field in the big championship game, and the guy's just a lazy fly ball. Come on and catch a damn thing. He drops it, and the kid scores from second. Game over, we lose. And much like Denny does, I've seen him around the mound when he's talking to the pitchers. I just ran in with him. Now,
Yeah.
And all I was having a nice, easy discussion with him. He was crying by the time he got back to the dugout, but not
John,
not
the
a
way
foul
Dad
moment,
told
that's
the
for sure.
story. Dad told the story was, oh God, it was great to see John pick up his teammate. He goes out there, the kid dropped the ball, the game ends. John goes out there a little bit, and picks his hat up or something, and they're jogging in together. By the time they got to the dugout, John was, you know, you could see John's mouth moving. The kid got in there and he was in tears. And later on, we asked the kid, like, what? He goes, I don't want to be on John Barrett's team anymore, because he absolutely made me feel horrible about that.
Hey, John, hey, Coach, John, you are a great instigator. Everybody looks at you these days, thinks, oh, what a guy, this guy, president of this, blah. Hey, man, you were the biggest instigator on there. I got to tell these people sometimes, yeah, he's changed. He's changed all that. He's starch. He didn't always used to be starch.
Hey, I'm so proud that at the end of the day, I mean, I look at you two. I mean, you guys were called the bookends. I mean, there was me in the middle, and I was a calming force. But little people don't know is that I was tough too, but I just played it down. You know, I mean, umpires would go, hey, John, would you please calm down? But not. I was yelling. I was talking to him from shortstop. You guys, on their hand, would go ahead and take it to a whole different level, the fights and all that stuff. And so you got blamed.
Yeah, so you look good.
What?
You look good. You were doing the same thing. You look good. We were getting in trouble. Mom would look at Denny and say, oh, man. And then he looked at me, oh, man. And then John, oh, look at John, the perfect child.
Yeah, right. Exactly right.
Man.
Hey, when it comes to umpires, why do we have such a hard time? I watched you, John, coaching JP. I remember the day Sandy says, hey, JP's got a game. John's going to coach. Let's all go out and see it. Sounds great. And we go out there and we're sitting there and the umpire's making some rough calls or something. And you're sitting there and you absolutely, in that calm demeanor voice, man, just let him know how bad he was. And it was fun. And I could see it, but Dad, we got that from Dad as well. We got some good things from our dads, but we also, what I had to do was get the good things and the bad things. It's that sharp tongue that the three of us have. Now, I've never had it I've never really had it. I'm a calm, cool, not a mouthy guy, but watching Jim and John go to work, but I don't know how. I'm trying to change. I did a podcast for about 10 minutes. I lost a game about 3 weeks ago, and the passion. See, we're talking very vanilla here, very telling stories, but there was such passion, Jimmy. I saw you fight against, I don't know what, Arcadia High School, rolling around out there in a high school game. Sorry,
you were there?
I was there. I was playing football with Kenny Hussein out, just dicking around like little boys do. But then there was a fight. So we started going over there and they're thinking, who is that? And I see a number 5 rolling around big time. Like, that's my brother, you know, but to be part of there was so much passion, and part of it could be good, could be positive, but I choose to think, man, thank God that passion was instilled on us, because it's made you, John, the man you are today. I believe, and Jim, the man you are, and their families the way they are today. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Oh, he made us. I mean, he set up. I mean, we were competing against each other. Either it was because I was a Green Bay Packers. Jim was the Johnny Unitas with the Baltimore Colts, and you were Fran Tarkenton with the Minnesota Vikings. I was Bart Starr-Thacker. We literally would have fist fights on who were better quarterbacks.
Exactly.
Or back in Homewood, Jim, you were this is when we're playing flag football. You know, Dad was a quarterback, and I always and to this day, I think he still threw you better passes than he threw me so you could win.
I had better hands. I just made it look easy.
Oh yeah. But then you know it wasn't. I mean, we were playing on cement and grass cement, but it became tackle football. And how many times as a little guy, I had to keep hitting you low, to tackle you. Then all of a sudden you end up having to have a knee surgery. Remember those days? So and then with Denny, you know, the greatest days I remember being in the valley is Denny wanted to play basketball in the backyard, and I said, okay, what do you want to play to? 20, and I know I'm going to beat him, but I get to him, so he gets 18 points, and he's one more basket to win. He's beating me 18-0.
Yep.
And then I just swarm him, and I end up winning 2018. He runs in, and but Dad would laugh at that at times. I know. Right? He would go in, and Mom would get upset. But
that's right.
You guys, though, you guys created that animosity. I had my friends, you know, the Benskos next door, and we had the Loudons across the street. And John or Jim, you'd have to be permanent quarterback because you guys were a little bit older, 4 to 5 years older. And John you'd give the ball to Cannonball Don, and you knew how to play the game. And my team never won. And I swear, I always felt like my flipping brothers, I never win. I remember having a conference with Mom and Dad. They had to sit me down. What's going on? John will not let my team win. It was the biggest conference I ever had, family. It was the first intervention I ever had with my mom and dad at age 7. All right. And no, your brothers love you, Dink. Your brothers love you. Then they need to show it, get the ball, you know, and then they'd come in and let's just have dinner, just a nice, calm dinner. And Jimmy would be over there and they'd look at each other. Jim and John always sat across, Rob, and Kelly was next to me. And we have this thing called Wuchi. I know, I can't believe I'm putting out on a podcast. By the way, got about 6,000 listeners. How about that, man? Huh?
That's great. That's
awesome.
It's
good stuff. It's but the sibling rivalry, and let's get into that. We're almost done here. The sibling rivalry. I coach twins. I coach brothers. I coach little older brothers. I've had brothers come through Notre Dame that went on through and batters. Did it benefit you to compete? Because I know you two battled as well, but when Jimmy came home making all league and John didn't, or Jimmy went 4 for 4 and John went 0 for 4, that was healthy. In our family, I thought that was healthy. Do you agree with that or not? The rivalries that we had?
Yeah, I think that's, I don't know if rivalries with us. I think it turned out after we got older, it turned out to be that there weren't any rivalries. You know, we got closer over the years, but during that time, look, Dad was a fireman. He was all macho and everything. We had to be if you lost or you went 0 for 4, it wasn't a good thing. And in the long run, it really didn't make a damn bit of difference. Right. You know that it did make a damn bit of difference. It caused some animosity between you, me, John, Mom, Dad, whoever. I think that was just part of growing up. I think we'd be different today if we didn't have that drive, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
I'm with you there, John. And the one thing I always try to repeat, I have 2 boys. I always try to repeat that. I wanted to repeat the family I had with you guys. And I credit you guys and Kelly and Mom and Dad. And things change. Players change. The game changes. Life changes, you know. And sometimes when we get married, we have daughters, we have sons, but I try to create that same but to recreate what we had on the outside, you look at it, you'd say, Jesus, it wasn't very healthy over there, that Barrett household, man. You fought on a Saturday night, but you went to mass on Sunday morning, you know, and make sure you're up and ready to go on Sunday. And then as we got older, it even got, I would walk into some of our family events going, oh, Jesus, Dink's here, man. Take a look at him. But
the looks on their face when we would walk in was something.
Yeah. But John, do you miss, and Jim, either one, when you look back at your youth, and I want kids today and parents today to see that when you look back at your youth today, do you miss it, or do you go, was it negative? Was it positive? Or was it, man, it was what it was? I guess that's something I want to let these parents know today. Whatever they were doing today, what advice would you give a parent today that's working with their son or their kids at Sherman Oaks Little League or Toluca Little League any suggestions you'd give today that?
Well,
we could
no,
have
I
done?
think, yeah, I think your last podcast, man, I forget her name, but she was very good. She was,
Jessica. Yeah.
yeah, Jessica did a nice job. And I think, you know, and I think she said it great and just right, really, really spot on there too, is that, hey, no, yes, we were the ball players we were because of the influence that dad had on us. I mean, there's no question about it. But to point I said earlier, but then you said it, it's not, hey, we're not going out and work ball, we're going to go out and play ball. And, and you know what, using, you know, you can't hide Babe Ruth. You can work as hard as you possibly can, but at the end of the day, baseball's going to end. And so put everything in focus. And so these parents, you said, I said, let the coaches coach. And what you could do is be the biggest supporter on that drive home or afterward. But if you start questioning and you put that in your kid's head, then all of a sudden that's going to play into the way he or she plays. And so maybe, yeah, I mean, I'm a better ball player than I could have been if, you know, dad was at influence. But going back to my corporate world here and using this whole story about, you know, competition and all that stuff and why he had such a big influence is I remember I had a big presentation in front of about, I guess, 200 people, and I completely froze, sat down and left the office that day, drove all the way out to the valley. There was dad sitting there, you know, doing his real estate, I guess. And and I go, he goes, hey, so what are you doing here? I goes, oh, Dad, I froze at a presentation and my career is shot. I can't believe I did this, you know. And so Dad, not knowing what the hell I was doing anyway, so I asked him, what do you think I should do? He went straight to the baseball analogy. Yeah. He went 0 for 4 today. Get your uniform back on, go back out there. You got another ball game tomorrow. And sure enough, I did. And I think that's what he taught us. I think what sports has taught us. And I think that's what parents need to understand. And Denny, you do such a good job on is what sports does do is you have good days and bad days, but those are the ones that the people that can pick themselves up and go out the next day. And their parents have to be such a big part of that. Is that drive home is you can talk about where the pitch was, but in they, you know, be very supportive, knowing there's another ball game next weekend. We're going to be in Vegas next weekend. Put this thing behind it. You've got to put it behind you, because if you keep thinking about it, you're not going to be able to go move forward on it. So I don't know if that,
perfect, John.
that
That's
answers
perfect.
it. Yeah, so.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I think real short on that same subject. I think and I know I've talked to Denny about this, is, you know, when we went out there to play, I don't know how much fun we had. You know, fun. I see kids now that they're just out there to have fun, man. We were always trying to be better. Yeah. And you see kids out there having fun. I remember watching these kids couldn't walk and chew gum. This was only a couple of weeks ago. They're standing by some baseball park, and I just started looking to them, and they all had smiles on their face. They couldn't hit a cutoff man. They don't know what a cutoff man is.
Right.
And they were having a great time.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember that. I don't remember I remember having a great time after we won, but I don't remember having a great time just showing up. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's the biggest challenge I have as coaching young kids is I don't want to wipe that smile off their face.
Right.
They're coming to the park. They got their own personal stuff going on at their own homes. As I know now as a parent that goes on that they can't control. And so to bring them to the yard, there's a fine line between getting in their tail and tell them there's really a right way and a wrong way. Some people, you can have different stances, different hands. You can do different things, but cuts and relays are important to have. Feeling the ground ball, being able just to play catch. More kids take hitting lessons today, but they should take catch lessons, because you'll make a lineup if you can play catch. The worst thing you can do is be in the outfield and drop a ball or because that means the inning goes longer. It's another line.
Well, that means you got to talk to John at shortstop.
Yeah, then you can talk to the shortstop. Yeah, because there's no clock in baseball.
That's right. There you go.
On and on and on. You're like, holy cow! Yeah, it's definitely a struggle. Last question, and I've always wanted to know this all my life. And you got people like Shannon listening, and Tom, and a lot of family out there listening.
Reichel.
Yeah, Tommy Reichel. Mike Barron. Can Mike Barron ever hit? I just curious.
Never.
Okay.
No.
No.
Well, not while I knew him. Not while
That's
I
right.
Knew him. Maybe not while I knew him. I heard he got better later.
Who was the best player in our Barrett family?
Oh,
John.
that goes out quick.
Hold on.
That goes out
You
quick.
can put dad in there too. You can put JP. You can put, no, we'll keep the kids out of it. We'll keep kids out. John, Jim, Dink, or dad. And a plus
I never
or
saw
minus.
Dad play. I never saw Dad play. He went farther than any of us did. But you know what?
I saw him play at softballs, Burbank. He wasn't bad. He had the white short,
Okay,
tight, white,
okay.
white pants, those white softball pants. We knew everything that was going on if he was hanging left or right that day.
You mean you talk about competition? How about dad's playing in that softball league and they're playing the Hollywood Stars?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a fundraiser charity. He makes a play at first base, throws it at home, and the double up the guy at home.
Yeah.
The umpire calls him safe. In the middle of this charity people, the fundraiser, everyone having fun, he charges the umpire.
Yeah.
And they have to separate him.
Yeah.
I'm looking in the stands. I go, really, Mom? I go, you know,
No.
John, I think he was out too, but I know, Mom, but come
No,
on.
yeah. Mom didn't get it.
You know? I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, you're exactly right. But
You know what? My feeling is, and I wish I would have seen John play more in school, but we were playing at the same time, and then you got sick and everything. I think John was probably the best one. I think
I
he
have
had-
the right answer, but that's your answer. Okay, I know the right, but go ahead.
I know what you know what the right
No,
answer.
I'm just gonna say I thought John was awfully good. Again, though, John was a pretty boy shortstop.
Yeah.
He got all the chicks. He got all the
His pants were always just right.
I
That
know,
freaking
man.
belt he had to get so tight when he was a kid. Yeah, I know.
John, what number did you wear in college? What number did you wear in college?
Number one in your program and number one in your heart, man.
Yeah, he
There
wore
you
number
go.
one.
You know, that
He
was
wore
it.
number one.
Shit.
You know
That
what?
says it all right
Coach had
there.
number
No,
11. And so I had to go, you know, I said, I want number 11. He goes, well, no, that's the head coach. He's got
Oh.
number 11. Oh, I guess I'll take one then. So,
That's
but,
So
no, I
Jim,
think
you
we're all
picked
good.
John.
I think we're all good in all very facets of the game. Denny, I saw the way you competed. You were probably the toughest competitor, and God knows you could swing the bat. That's for sure. Too bad because the mailman was a short, stumpy guy, so you got that body type. So I don't know.
No
if you were
hair
able
either.
to-
Don't
that's
forget
it,
that.
you know. And then I saw Jim. Jim probably I thought had the best glove. I mean, there's no
Yeah.
question about it. And then Jim, you really tore your arm up pretty good there. But when I would see you take ground balls, your hands were smooth, and so I think we all had great skills. And it was like you said, you look at Notre Dame High School, you got all four positions. Barrett's were all league. So at third, short, second, and first. I think that says a lot about
Yeah.
our
it was-
abilities across the board. So.
No, you're right. And I'm gonna humbly say, you guys are. And
Humbly?
Dad was a great player. Humbly, humility is a key word in my language, and I want to humbly say, I do think after watching you guys, I've been watching video of you guys for the last 3 weeks too. Just because all the videos I took when I was younger, that the best player was me. And I say that
in all honesty.
in all honesty.
Yeah, I got it.
It's a program of honesty. And that's what reason why I was at
Well, I
second base.
know. I think what makes you best was the combination of you and La Pava. When you guys
Yeah.
would go ahead and put a program together, and I hope John La Pava is listening to this thing because you know what? He was one of the finest left-handers I ever saw. And
He was my favorite left-hander.
Yeah, but thank God he had a great defense behind him because that's what he was all right. So
But when did Kevin Walters know that he wasn't a left-handed hitter and he was really a right-handed hitter? Because I saw him hitting college on the left side. I thought eventually he turned it around because he hit his whole life, but he couldn't hit a lick. So I thought that was another one that was one of our guys. No, the enjoyment we have. By the way, I was at second base as an all year because I had no freaking arm. I couldn't play short or third. They had to go to the other side there. So that was that's how it went. Thank God. Or maybe I was left-handed. I didn't know. All right, guys, we're good here, man. I got Jim Barrett, my brother Jimmy, my oldest brother, my second oldest brother John Barrett. You two, man, have been a huge influence, and I can't thank you two. How much I love you guys, how much I respect you two, and thanks for hanging in there with this big mouth little brother and having my back for all these years. And I appreciate you. Let's do it again, man. We'll do it again next year, whatever goes on from there.
No, we're very proud of you, man. We really are.
Yeah,
I'm very proud of the great work you've done. It really is.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
you're having such a massive positive impact on so many people. And not only them, but you had it with us as well, too. So
Thanks,
great
you
job,
guys.
everything you're doing. Yeah.
Right on, right on. That's it for number what, 40,
49.
By the way, Rob's still here. Producer Rob.
Hey,
Yeah, Rob, by the way, it's AON, it's not AOL. Thanks a
Oh,
lot. Really
okay,
appreciate
now I
your support
know.
there, you know?
Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
when does it, hey, Denny, when are we gonna get paid?
Yeah, it's coming out right now. I'll send a check.
Hey, I emailed it to AOL.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. See you guys.
Hey, man. Hey, you guys, thanks a lot. I'll be in
Thanks,
Vegas
John.
tonight.
Good
I'm in
luck,
Vegas
man.
tonight. Congrats, Johnny, on your daughter, man.
Yeah, she just
big
just
news,
committed.
man.
She has to make some tough calls tonight to Michigan and Portland and
Just
Lewis
text.
Clark.
To Michigan? Are you
text
shitting
them.
me? That's tough. Yeah. I'm just
Well,
don't
no,
go to Berkeley.
the coach is a Hall of Famer, man. And so he's been all over, and they were down in Azusa, her staff.
Yeah,
and,
but it's Michigan. It's a
yeah,
little
I
chilly
know.
there.
That's what I'm saying. She's running around in snow. So she made a commitment 2 nights ago, but now I told her you got to pick up the phone and don't text these coaches. You pick up the phone and call these coaches because they've spent a lot
Old
of time
school.
and effort. So, you know.
Well, I run it also across country, like batters. I also have a cross country group. So if she needs some work in that area, I can help her there. All right.
Yeah.
Advanced
Yeah.
training, cross country advanced training and recruiting
Yeah,
services.
so-
Yeah, you
It's,
want to do the best for your kids, join batters, right, Denny?
That's exactly right. So, yeah.
Exactly. That's what I thought. That's
Hey,
what
man, I love you too, man. Thank you very much.
Love you too,
Okay?
guys.
All
Take
right,
care,
see you
man.
later on.
Be
See
safe,
you guys.
everybody. Be healthy.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
man.
That's awesome. It was.
So good.